So here we're going to look at using R for analyzing titration curve data. We're going to import the data from a Vernier data acquisition system that has already been previously collected. And we're going to use rdrr.io as the to run our R code. If you have RStudio or some other ability to run it offline, that's fine. But this is a easy way to run some commands without having to install anything. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is actually load up some data. And I've got a set of titration data that comes from the Vernier. We see that it's providing the volume, the pH, and the first derivative plot. In this particular experiment, we had run 5 or 6 or 7 trials. They're all in the same file or same text file, and so we need to go and select just the information that we want. Control C, and then we're going to go into R, and let's call this variable data. And now I'm just going to actually paste the rest of that information in here, and end our quotation mark, and let's name those columns. There we go. We can check to make sure that that this is plotting, or that this is running properly by putting in an intermediate command. Let's go ahead and just plot, say, the first 2 columns. And when we press Control Enter, we do get a titration curve. Excellent. Okay, so we don't care about that that line right now, so we can get rid of that and carry on. So the first thing, I am going to comment some of these so that it's clear what we're doing when. Calculate the derivative. Now, even though this particular data set has a derivative, we're going to calculate the derivative. Not all data sets saved properly with the derivative, and it's a useful tool for us to do. So the first thing, we did look at how to use this in Excel in the activity. So we're going to look at how this would be done in R. So the first thing that we need to do is load the library, and the name of that library is Signal. So the next thing we need to do is make sure that we know what the differential is, the differences between each volume in each step. So we're going to get that by just similar to what we did in Excel. We just find the average difference for all of the values in the first column. Let's go ahead and print devol just to make sure that this is working properly and I didn't put in any typos in there. Great. Okay, so that is working. It's about 0.0502 milliliters in this case. Let's take a quick look at what's going on here. Remember, up at the top, I called the column names volume, pH, and D1. So if I want to access one particular column, I use the $ there and data $volume. nrow is just telling me the number of rows that are in my data set. So I'm actually getting the last row there, and then dividing by that number again, -1, because if essentially what I'm trying to do here is, if I know that I've delivered a total of 13.524 milliliters, and for however many columns there are in this, 100 or 200 columns, that tells me the volume per drop. Okay, now that we've got that point, let's find the first derivative, and we'll create a new column in our data frame that will store that data. We can do that pretty easily by just creating a new variable with that $ in there to indicate that it is part of the data frame. And the name of the function that's actually calculating the first derivative is called, it's a Savitsky-Goulet filter. And what it's actually doing is beyond the scope of this work, but if you want to take a look at Savitsky-Goulet filters and how this works, it's kind of neat. But it's not necessary for us to do this in this particular instance. All we need to know is that we are filtering the pH data. We are doing a 5-point filter. M equals 1 indicates that we are trying to calculate the derivative, and the step in this case is the volume. Now let's see if that worked. So we're going to plot a new data frame, which is made out of the volume and this new derivative. And sure enough, we see a plot that has a large peak somewhere around where the inflection point is in the titration curve. So we'll come back to creating this plot in just a few minutes. But let's move on to a couple other things that we need to do first. Once we've got all of the data, let's go ahead now and find the equivalence point and print that volume. The first thing that we need to do is find the row that contains the maximum of the derivative and return that volume. We're going to do that and set a variable called the equivalence point volume. Oops, let's spell it correctly. Let's really spell it correctly this time. And we're going to use the max command under which we're locating the maximum in a column of the data frame, and that column that we're interested in is the derivative that we just plotted. And it would return the entire row. We are interested in just the volume, which is stored in the first column of that row. And what we're going to do here is use the paste command to actually create a little nicer display. So essentially what we're going to do here is add a list of things that the print command will paste all together. So we can say equivalence point, volume, and we can put the variable that we just created right there, and we can even add units. Woohoo! Let's see if that works. And there we are, equivalence point volume, 10.156 milliliters. Wonderful. Okay, so that's looking really good. Let's now move on to determining the concentration of the sodium hydroxide. And the first thing that we need to do is store the mass of KHP in a variable. Now remember, this was a titration of sodium hydroxide with KHP, and in the experiment you had a known mass of KHP. That information is not in the text file that stores our data. It's in our laboratory notebooks. So if you are following this along just to learn how to do this, choose some number that's around 204 milligrams, because that was what we were doing in the class. So I'm just going to use 0.2039. And from that, we're going to calculate the concentration and store that into a variable. Okay, to do that, we'll call this variable NaOH concentrations. There we are. We need the mass, and we need to divide that mass by its molecular weight, or molar mass, which is 204.22 for potassium hydrogen phthalate, and that's the mass that was the mass in grams divided by its molecular weight, so that is moles. Then we divide by the EP volume, and that volume is in milliliters, so we need to convert this into liters, which would mean that we would take the top and multiply in the numerator, multiply it by 1,000. And let's go ahead and print that, make sure that that's actually working properly. Great, and it should be around 0.1 molar, and it is. Notice how we've got a crazy number of sig figs there, which in Excel we just had to handle, but R does have a nice little tool that we can use when we're displaying values and if we know how many sig figs we want to display. So there's our comment. So let's go ahead and use paste again, and we'll demonstrate how that signif function works. So if we type in signif and an AOH const, so that's the value that we want to report, and the number of significant digits that we're going to use would be, let's say 3. Let's go ahead and use 3 for this one. So it's not going to automatically calculate the number of sig figs. You need to know what that value is, but it will handle the rest for you. So now let's go ahead and see how that looks. And we've got 3 sig figs. That's really nice. Okay, we're running close to the end of what we need to do here. The last part is to make a plot of the titration curve with the newly generated derivative line. So the first thing that we're going to do is plot the titration curve and include dots and connect them with lines. Note that what I'm doing here is using commands that are readily available without having to load up additional packages. Very quickly, you're going to learn the limitations of some of these commands. There's going to be a lot more efficient ways to do this. I am by no means an R expert, as some experts might see if they've been following along here. But we're just trying to keep things as simple as possible and not worrying about making visualizations and displays pretty. So note in this the type is O in this command that I'm going to be typing below, and that's going to give us dots. There's going to be an argument called y-limit, which allows us to change the lower and higher values that are presented in the plot on the y-axis. And that's going to be helpful when you plot your own data. It may not look exactly like mine. It shouldn't, because it's your data, not mine. And then the other thing that I am going to remind you to do is to look at the other parameters, because they should be self-explanatory. And I want you to make sure that you look at some of the script, and instead of just copying along and hoping you get the right answer, to pay attention to what it is that you're actually doing. So the command is plot. Again, we're making a data frame to contain the data that we're interested in, and that is the volume and data, the pH. Notice how we're just going to plot first the titration curve, and then later on we're going to add the derivative. I'm going to add some additional lines here just to keep things a little bit easier to follow. That type O, so that makes the lines with dots. There's one parameter. You should figure out what that parameter is supposed to do. That one also you should be able to figure out. Notice how each one of these parameters can also have functions within them, and those functions can have functions within them. And last command, or last parameter, we're going to make sure that this plots from 0 to 14. Let's see if I made any typos in that. That's really surprised that I didn't. And here's the plot that we've got so far. We've got a titration curve. We've got a title, NaOH concentration. It tells us what the concentration is. Also underneath, it tells us what the equivalence point volume is, since we asked it to do that. Volume and pH. Wow, it's looking pretty nice. One last thing that we need to do is add another line to the plot. And we're going to do that Anytime I run the command lines, now that there's a plot in the script, it's going to add that line to the plot. And notice we are now putting in the derivative. And the only thing we're changing for this one is the type of the type of line, so that we can separate it. We can visualize the two plots differently, or the two lines in the same plot differently. Here we are. So we've got dots for the titration curve. We've got a solid line for the derivative. They are both showing up at the inflection point, which is also the equivalence point. And the volume at the equivalence point is provided. And since we did give it a mass of KHP, we can have a concentration printed. So there we are, a very big blur tour of creating some plots and doing some really nifty stuff with R. It's time to go back to the activity and walk through and try to reproduce this.